The Nigerian Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo Iweala, says Nigeria has managed to attain triple economic growth with the ongoing strong economic reforms in the country. According to the minister, Nigeria is a country worth fighting for, and with the right team, and with their commitment, the country will make the greatest impact on its people. Ibrahim caught up with the Nigerian Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo Iweala, at the launch of her book titled Reforming the Un-reformable: Lessons from Nigeria.
I thought it necessary to present this book and launch it at this time because, one, we are in a very uncertain global world. But in the midst of this world, African countries are doing relatively well. And they're doing well because they undertook many important reforms. The reforms were difficult, but they had the courage to implement the reforms. And I wanted to capture the essence of those reforms for Nigeria. We know as a fact that the reason Nigeria is growing so much better and performing better than it did during the decade of the 90s and 80s is on the back of these reforms. So if we don't capture the reforms, we will not be able to know what we did right, what we did wrong, and how to continue. Similarly for other African countries, I think this is a good case study of how reforms can work and also where the failures and the successes are. So I think this is a good time now, because the world is uncertain. We need to know where we are doing well, where we are not doing well, so that we can do even more to make ourselves stronger as African countries in the global environment.
Do you want to take us through the major highlights of the book and how it's going to impact on the reforms of the Nigerian economy?
Well, first of all, there are several things. On a technical level, we're able to do some very strong reforms to stabilize the macroeconomic environment, by getting a handle on the fiscal situation and installing fiscal prudence within the economy. We're able to do structural reforms like privatization, institutional reforms such as building or trying to rebuild the civil service. We were not completely successful. That was very difficult. We were able to install transparency in the way of doing business in many areas of economic life. But we also encountered many problems. We were not as successful in reforming customs. We were not as successful in reforming the civil service. There are lessons to be learned there. But we did, in the end, manage to get to triple economic growth as a matter of fact. And it laid the basis for us for the type of reforms that are being done now under the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan with his leadership to create jobs in various sectors of the economy. If we had not done the reforms, the ones we did earlier on, from 2003 to 2006, I don't think we would have had a solid basis to move forward on the reforms of today.
You did mention that the book is not just about reforms of the Nigerian economy, but it is also about hope. Do you want to elaborate more on this?
Yes, I think this book, Reforming the Unreformable: Lessons from Nigeria, is a book about hope. Because many people see Nigeria internationally and even among ourselves as Nigerians as difficult. It will never be able to turn this economy around. We'll never be able to change the country. But this book illustrates that we can. We did change some very difficult things. We are able to change the country if we put our minds to it and we have the political will. So it's about hope for the young people of this country, for the future, that they should not be upset. They should be upset, yes, that things are not going right. They should not despair that they'll never be able to change the country. They will. But to do it, you have to work hard. You have to fight. You have to fight the vested interests in the economy, because we cannot allow them to take over this country. So it's giving them hope that it can be done. And they should never, ever listen to anything that says Nigeria will never change. We managed to change it for a period of time. We are still working to change it under this administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, and they will need to keep changing it for the future. So this is really for the youth.